Hey everyone, welcome back to Breakthrough Innovation, where we uncover what it really takes to lead change, create value, and build what's next. I'm JL Heather here with my co host Preston Chandler. Together, we lead Centered, a firm that helps organizations navigate complexity, spark creativity, and unlock the full potential of their teams through innovation, coaching, and strategy. Now, every organization says it wants bold leadership, but most are quietly trapped in a cycle of blame, rescue, and avoidance that kills momentum before any real innovation can take hold. The cost isn't just morale, it's the strategic decisions that never get made, the transformations that stall, and the talent that quietly disengages. Charlie Sheppard is a professor of leadership, founder of World Bridge University, biotech co founder, and the creator of a powerful distinction between what he calls the drama triangle and the leadership triangle, a framework that explains why teams get stuck in reactive loops and how leaders can replace that cycle with vision, catalytic action, and coaching. In this conversation, he'll break down how to recognize the behavioral traps silently undermining your team's performance and give you a practical model to lead through complexity without the drama. Charlie, it seems like you've done quite a few things in your life. I'll try not to let it give me an inferiority complex here as we dive into
Right.
this conversation. But I won't lie, I'm a huge fan of the drama triangle. I'm really eager to hear your perspective on it. Thanks for giving us your time. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, the the idea of the drama triangle happened. I was it was actually but 1990 to 1992, and Rockhurst University had actually sponsored us through the MBA program as a colleague and I to do leadership development. We called it the deep structure of leadership.
Yeah.
And it was a 2-week residential. So we had executives for 2 weeks, and we put them into the most cutting edge leadership development that we could possibly imagine. And we did 360s before that event, and we did 360s after that event. And as an educator, the people that needed the development the most embraced it the least. The people that needed it the least embraced it the most. And so, as somebody whose job it is to educate, I felt like it was, even though the course was an amazing success, it didn't have as much of an amazing success with the people that really could have used the most growth. So it set me down the idea of really looking at what gets in the way of leadership. And uh, the theory at the time was, and contrast is a powerful way to teach
Right.
anything, right? If you want to teach lease, you teach buy. If you want to teach man, you teach woman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Using contrast allows you an insight into things, and we make distinctions all the time. So I was really looking at what's the opposite of leadership. And at the time, it was management.
Mm,
But if you get to what good managers are and what good leaders are, they're doing the same behaviors, right? They're listening, they're asking great questions, they're communicating well. So at the behavioral level, it wasn't a great contrast. And so that led me down the path of really going into family therapy, the
mm.
dynamics of family therapy, and the
Interesting.
drama triangle became a powerful metaphor for defining the characteristics of individuals who have a harder time demonstrating leadership. And the interesting thing is, I needed to change the language and move it out of therapy and family therapy into a business language. And it gave me the perfect contrast to leadership. Then once I went down that one, I just went, oh my gosh, it really is, the patterns of drama come as standard equipment with every human being.
Yeah.
The leadership pattern is optional. So once I was able to do that, it gave me a tool where I could go into organizations and I could get the shadow part of their culture to get revealed so that people can make a different choice about it. Most people are unaware that they're doing these ineffective behaviors. And so bringing it into light allowed people to make a different choice.
Well, and it's funny, you started off by saying the leaders that needed it the most were the hardest to reach. And I think
Yep.
that makes sense because I haven't found a leader yet that would describe themselves as the victim or the rescuer, like you're talking about in
Yep.
the drama triangle. But like you
Yep.
said, they're everywhere. It's like part of the human condition. So
Yep.
For some of these leaders, what makes that dynamic so hard for them to see in themselves?
Eh, once once you make them aware, so this is the part that I I do in seminars, but it's difficult to do in a book, is there's an energy that goes with the drama triangle. It's
Yeah,
like when I do interviews, I don't really care what the if I'm doing an assessment of an organization, I don't actually care what people say. I care what their sound energy is. Right? So the sound energy of drama is different than the sound energy of leadership. And it's just like, I don't know if you've ever had this experience where somebody walks into a room and they suck all the energy out of the room, right?
never.
So the
Yep.
behavioral scientist in me goes, that's amazing. How did that person do that? Right? That's extraordinary. You can walk into a room and suck all the energy out. Um, there's also individuals that put energy into the room.
Right.
And so then it becomes okay. I think one of the always the cautions that I tell people, and even if people go, buy the book, which is called Save Your Drama for Your Mama, what most people do when they look at the drama triangle, leadership triangle distinction is they go, oh, that's now I understand that person, where it's actually a self reflection tool, right?
Yeah.
If you
Interesting.
think you're never in the drama triangle, that's called low self awareness. Okay. That's just like it's a self-reflection tool. And even for myself, I mean, I can put myself into the drama triangle, even though I kind of wrote the book on it. It's simple. I remember I taken my kids out skiing, and these boys were home from college. And by the way, I'm an avid. I raced in college as I was on the National Ski Patrol, and it's a powder morning. I mean, there's fresh powder and there's blue skies. We're in a trailside condo. I can be on the chair first. So, man, I'm out. But these boys are home from college. This is my one time to ski with them,
Yeah.
and they're moving slow.
Yeah.
So I stood out there below the condo, seeing the chairlift starting to load, being mad at them, being mad at myself, and being frustrated. I put myself into the state of drama. It was
Oh, yeah.
simple. I didn't make a choice, right? And that's why we say the exit out of the drama triangle is actually choosing. I could have easily gone and skied, or I could have been good about waiting. But what I did is I put myself down in the bottom, and
Yeah.
I didn't have a clear vision of what it was I wanted to create that morning. And so, in essence, it's a self-reflection tool. That's what
Right.
I would caution people. Don't use this as a way to go. If you want to create more drama in your organization, go around and point out how everybody else is in the drama triangle.
Absolutely. Well, I always like to tell people, every day you're going to be in multiple places on that drama triangle at some point, and that's okay. It's having the language to identify and think through it and get yourself out of it that's really valuable.
So I have a follow-on question then, Charlie. You
Yep.
said that it's really hard, like that self-awareness can be really hard. So what are some things that you've been successful doing to help people become more self-aware? And
Yep.
then also from the other perspective, for those people who aren't self-aware, how can you help them just recognize, oh wow, I am being the victim? Like what are some of those triggers? What are some of the things you do?
Yeah. So I'm lucky in that I have a mental map of the model, right? So that helps me. But having a mental map in the model when you're in a state where you're not actually being effective, right? I can then look at the energy of what I'm actually generating, and I get out of it pretty quickly because I'm aware of the energy state about what I'm doing to myself, and I can sense that. So if you want the fastest way out, Preston, you take a breath. In almost every single situation where you're in the drama triangle, you stop breathing. Right? When I
Yeah.
was going, oh, you could hear it in the sound energy, and I wasn't making a choice, right? There's a lack of breath. The second thing is almost always your vision narrows, right? So perceptual filters, you narrow versus having it expanded. So sometimes, so again, getting yourself out of the drama triangle, take a step back and actually take a breath. It's neurological and somatic, and yet it has a huge power at actually shifting things. I think one of the favorite questions that I ask, and I can say anybody could ask, is how did I create this? Which
Mm.
then shifts the locus of control. So People who are in the drama triangle, and by the way, we've been measuring locus of control for the last 50 years. Uh, the scary part is locus of control is actually increasing in this country, not decreasing. And what I mean by that, external locus of control. So the outside world's doing this to me versus what do I
Yeah.
actually create. So the question is, how did I create this? Oh, I didn't have a vision for what I wanted this morning. I didn't get the boys out, whatever it was, right? How did I architect this is a really powerful question, because now you're looking back at yourself and now you can make a different choice. So where is your locus of control? And by the way, I could keep there's 20 things that you can do to get yourself out of it. There's also 20 things you can do to get other people out of it. And so I believe that first and foremost, take care of it somatically. In other words, take a step back, broaden your point of view, get oxygen into your head, because you only have 3 milliseconds before you're into an automatic pattern.
Yeah.
We're basically pattern recognition and pattern firing. So the course that I teach is called Leadership as a Choice, because there's a choice theory in between drama and leadership, and you get an active moment to choose, which is why having a compelling vision is so powerful in order to guide those moments, right? Like I didn't have a vision about what I wanted to have happen clearly enough that morning to make the choice that I wanted to make, given the set of circumstances that I had, right? So having a compelling vision moves you out of the victim. The rescuer, really having those kind of more difficult, candid conversations that are not rescuing people, gets you back up in the leadership triangle, being a coach, and understanding how humans make decisions collectively and how you inspire people, being a catalyst, so much better than being adversarial.
Well, it's funny to me, so much of the conversation these days is about empowerment or
Mhm.
maybe slightly adjacent to that, engagement. Like, how do we get people to actually own decisions, solve problems on their own? When I hear stuff like this, my mind instantly goes to like, this is what empowerment is. Like, this is how you empower not only leaders, but individuals. And we've been talking about it very much on the individual level so far today. I'm curious though, what does this look like at the organizational level? If an executive listening today wants to take some of what we've been talking about it and start injecting it into the culture, into the organization, what does that look like? What could they do tomorrow to start that process?
First thing is, it's harder than you think.
Yeah.
So, uh, this is, and I don't mean that as a, I'm in the consulting business and you got to come hire us. I mean that it's actually the patterns. The patterns of, I just had somebody started doing construction outside the beginning of the podcast here, which is always an interesting time. Um, so I believe that when you can figure out what those actual shadow patterns are, and different cultures will have different ones, and
Hmm.
almost all of it's unconscious. That the risk is, and especially with the patterns of drama, is it's almost 25x more pervasive on the culture of a company than the leadership function.
Right.
So your ability, if somebody's in that space of drama, by the way, it's already hardwired in everybody's nervous system.
Right.
So the function of drama is to create more drama. And it's so easy to get somebody else to go into the drama triangle. Watch this. Is I could just sit there and go, "Hey, Preston, do you see how JL is just talking over you all the time? Can you believe that he's doing that again?" So now
Oh,
I'm gonna go.
I'm
I'm
such
gonna
a big
go enroll
yeah.
Preston into my point of view, throwing you under the bus, and I'm gonna be doing it in such a like. Do you notice how he just keeps he wants to talk more, right? And so now all of a sudden I'm gonna get him enrolled in my powerless point of view, and it sounds like I'm helping him, and it's so easy to do. It's like,
yeah.
it's by the way, if you don't think it's happening in the culture, all you have to do is look at, I don't care what show it is, Survivor films for the drama, the Bachelor, Bachelorette films for the drama, the
Yeah.
Real Housewives films for the dramas, Vanderpump Rules. All of this is the same. In fact, our news organizations now,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
If you listen to the sound energy, say your political leanings or more red state or more blue state, and so you have two pundits that are representing those two issues on a news show. If you listen to their sound energy, it's almost my point of view, no, my point of view. And if you were to go listen to the Wrestling Federation, the sound energy is almost
Yeah.
identical to the two. So that that sound energy is taking you out of the higher cognitive centers. Now we layer into that social media, where all you're getting is your outrage point of view with that sound energy. And now you have a culture that's predisposed to drama. So
Yeah.
when you say, how do I get it out of the culture? You're talking about a very large influx, right? Along with this external locus of control bias that's coming on in that I can't, shift or shape things how they are. So I think it's a long-winded answer to a very complex problem. What we do is we actually find out what the culture's specific patterns are that's reinforcing it, bring it into conscious awareness, and give people a better choice anyway. And
Right.
so then because it takes two or more people to do drama. So if one person has awareness, you can actually stop it.
No, I love that. And
Anyway.
I think, what I hear you saying more than anything for leaders, it's practicing this yourself and setting an example. Because I think what I've found is sometimes the opposite of drama is kind of contagious because the reality is it's a relief, I think, for the most part, for most people.
When you have it's interesting, I just did this, for an organization where we came on in and did we've got a particular process that it's really fun to be able to say this. It always works. It's 100% effective. I've been doing it now for I've been doing it for 30 years, and it just like, it always works. We do a team-based vision and strategy process where we can actually it's a team building, but it creates the collective direction of the vision, which becomes so pervasive and powerful. It becomes a real so a vision needs to shift energy, and it actually always shifts the energy of the group. And it makes it and that's why not only do you wanna get the shadow culture revealed, but you got to have such a compelling vision about what you want to architect. And sometimes I get called into really difficult environments. Like I do a lot of work with union management negotiations. And
Mm.
by the way, the
Mm.
steel workers will bring me in equal to managers. And so in those environments, you actually have a lot of maybe cultural entrenched issues where people are not getting along historically, right? You think about
Yeah.
patterns in place of those two organizations. So again, I know that it works because I can do it in those environments. And
Yeah.
so in some ways, when it's a corporate culture, I go, oh man, oh, I
No
got
Oh,
I
pressure.
got
easy.
this one because I'm doing it where people have actually they may have 50 years of historical uh baggage that's stuck
Yeah.
almost generationally in the drama triangle
Right.
with each other. And so I can pop that. I can do it when you're just an executive team.
Well, Charlie, I could talk about this all day. I love
You
this. I
know,
use the drama triangle in my coaching, as we said before the show. So I'm already a fan. Hopefully, you've convinced a few of our listeners. For anyone who is interested in hearing more or working with you, what's the best way for them to reach out and connect?
Yeah, we're just redoing. I have a 20-year-old website. I think it looks dated to me because I've seen it forever. So we're just in the process of redoing it. It's called. It will be published soon. It's but the existing one is there. It's www.shepherd sheppard partners partners.com. I've also got another one, which is of I'm doing free workshops now on human presence, and it's humanpresence.org. You can check that out if that's of interest. It was kind of like looking at, okay, what's the thing that allows all leaders and people who have to influence others? What's the secret sauce that makes it work? And it's presence. And so we're teaching human presence, and we're doing it for free. So it's kind of a cool
Cool.
concept out there in the world of just trying to get more human presence there. I'm doing a series of books called The Path of Light. Oh, you'll find all of this stuff on LinkedIn, right? So you can find me at Charlie Sheppard on LinkedIn, and so you can either message me there or reach out through Shepherd Partners, World Bridge University, Arjuna Therapeutics. That's my biotech company. There's a lot. We actually think we're so close. We're finally now getting preclinical data where we think that we're actually going to be able to freeze advanced cancer. We're going to be able to make advanced cancer survivable. We're going to stop the metastatic nature of it. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool
That's impressive.
science. Yeah, we're metabolically, we're going after the metabolic engines of cancer cells, and it's cytotoxic and immune system modulating, and with really low off-target effects. So we can do everything that a chemo can do, which is still state of the art, but 70-year-old technology is like putting a bomb off inside of your cells, and we're able to do exactly what chemo is doing, but doing it with a surgeon's scalpel of just going after the cancer cells. So it's pretty cool along those lines.
Well, I think we have enough there for like 3 more episodes. So we'll have to get those on the calendar at some point, Charlie. Again, thank you so much.
I would love to. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, we could absolutely do it. Really do appreciate your time. I know everyone listening does as well. So while all you guys listening are here, before you leave that 5-star review in the comments. Talk to us a little bit about how the drama triangle shows up in your life, whether that's at work or home or whatever. Because I think now that you have the language, I think that's a really valuable tool. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you know anyone who needs to know a little bit more about the drama triangle, feel free to share this episode with them and introduce them to Charlie. Charlie, thank you again. Really appreciate the time.
Thanks,
For everyone
Charlie.
else, we'll see you next time on Breakthrough Innovation.